Fire. Nowadays, the only thing that worries me when I see these beautiful skyscrapers is fire hazards. We designers or even individuals who buy apartments in high rise do not understand how are we going to save ourselves if there is a fire. So today, to deal with this point, I have with me my friend Kunal Shah from Fire. Kunal will only explain you his company better than me. So Kunal, can you please talk about your entire firm?
Thanks for having me here today, Asumi. I am Kunal Shah from Fire Safe Technologies. I have spent more than 2 decades in the field of fire protection, and I am here today to share my some experience about fire protection and how you can save lives and protect an asset.
When I see skyscrapers, the only thing that I think of is what will happen if there is fire here. So, are there such things, such systems that can save people in case of fire, or even the protection systems that are there?
Yeah, there are several systems and National Building Code, which is a very important code, and it's been there since several years. And the last amended was in 2016, and which is constantly there are small amendments. The major overhaul is gonna happen soon, and if the proper systems are followed there, and also the chief fire officers of every state, every city are trying to amend and add new systems in place. Let's say if the skyscraper is more than 70 meters, now let's say in a city like Mumbai, it is mandatory to have an escape chute for every wing, every individual wing. Okay. So it's a slide, closed slide with a higher rating of fire protection that people can evacuate from that, and that's phenomenal. And also an escape lift is made mandatory. So they are, I think, if we go back in the history, you had sprinkler systems or the hydrant system which were only in the buildings or the parking lots. But as we have progressed, now it was initially mandatory for the passages. Now it is mandatory, the sprinkler and the detection system, even for the house, residential, commercial apartments. So there is an awakening. They are doing their bit.
So tell me one thing. For what I understand is the sprinkler system is the most important thing, and so is the fume detector, the fire detector. Now, is there anything with the sloping that one should be very careful of? Because I see very often the new kids that are coming in the interior field. A lot of short-term courses and all are on, so people kind of think they know interiors, and then they kind of play with the entire interior and. They'll end up spoiling the future of the people. So, do you feel so?
As you know, rightly said, sprinkler system and the detection system are the most basic and the most important system that one should have it. And of course, it's mandate as well. So, as per law, abiding citizen or the builder or the architect, these are mandatory requirements. Going forward, there is necessity of having an extinguisher, proper designing, such that we are not blocking the sprinkler discharge, or the detector is placed in a proper way. Aesthetics is not the only important, because the life value, it's an invaluable asset, right? So it cannot be replaced. So that's how it is very, very important to focus on that as well.
So tell me, earlier there was a simple fire extinguisher. Then we came to sprinkler system. Then we came to little bit more advanced sprinkler systems. What's next?
As you mentioned, extinguisher, these are still a very critical and an important part, though it was earlier, even today, where the maximum lives are saved through extinguisher, because you can extinguish the fire at a very incipient stage. I think the entire concept of fire detection is if it is detected very quickly at an incipient stage before it becomes a large fire, it can be easily extinguished. The next we moved forward to detection and sprinkler. So next is water mist system. So these are fine droplets of water, which can sprinkle, and give a great cooling effect. The requirement of water, since as the city is growing, I'm sure so many buildings are coming up, the requirement of water is only increasing per se for human consumption. But with the water mist system, the requirement of water is less in case of fire event.
So what exactly are you into, Kunal? I know you do industrial fire. I mean, you take care of the industrial fire protection. I also see you have something for the car and some system for the car and all that. So, can you please enlighten us even about those pointers?
We do industrial protection for fire detection and suppression system for the control room, pipeline sector, oil and gas sector, where their main control rooms are protected. So where it's a very valuable asset and a clean agent gas. So let's say it would detect the fire automatically, and if you are sitting in that room and if there is a gas discharge, it will not affect you.
Oh.
Okay, so that's how kind of a gas it is.
So it works for industrial buildings also, or just for factories and stuff, or?
No, it is also used in the server rooms, data centers. It is not just predominantly industrial. Let's say in a residential or a plain commercial space, it turns out very expensive product, and that's how it is not used. But let's say a server room in a company, there is a clean agent fire suppression system which is used. And for the buses, we do protection. So let's say Government of India under Modi ji and Gadkari ji have brought a notification and made it mandate that all the intercity buses that we have, all the sleeper coaches, they need to have detection and suppression system in the engine. Because there were some incidences in the past where sleeper buses, someone sleeping there, and if there is a fire, they are not aware of it, and unfortunately they have lost their lives. So they have brought this as a mandate, looking towards the safety aspect of the passengers.
So tell me, Kunal, can you please help my viewer audience to understand that while one is when you kind of shift into the house that you take care that the sprinklers are right, while the interior work is happening, so there is so much debris lying everywhere, there are cartons, there's stuff. So at that point, what do you feel we as designers or even flat owners should do to take care that such things don't arise?
So I'll tell you, the flammable liquid should be stored at one proper location. You cannot keep it everywhere in the house.
So by flammable liquid, you mean all the paint material,
the
right?
paint material, if we are in a residential house, let's say the soap, the oil and everything around, that shouldn't be kept, here and there. You can keep a proper location, proper space where you store everything. And they should be kept away from candles, diyas. Let's say in Indian household, we all lit diya right in front of God, Bhagwan. And then there was an incident in Mumbai where a couple lit the diya and they went for a walk, and they came back and the house was gutted with fire. Luckily there was no casualty, but they went through this. So we need to be aware. We cannot leave it open. Or let's say when you're cooking something with oil, you should not leave it unattended. You should be around.
So I also feel like very recently there was a fire at one of very renowned new under construction building, and I was just under it at that point, and I could see like flames coming and things falling, and that's when I thought that I need to address this point and help people and at least understand that fire is such a big thing. We as designers never take care of this. I mean, we have paint material lying all around. The spirits are lying here and there. And do you think at that point, if we had a fire extinguisher lying at the site, would that help us?
Absolutely. See, extinguisher is the first interaction with fire you will have a fire extinguisher. The reason I say extinguisher and not water is because at times, what kind of fire is it, we are not aware. Whether it is by a short circuit or just, let's say, due to this pains or something like that, or a cigarette butt, or there is a oil fire. So there are extinguishers which take care of all such fire. So one simple extinguisher, let's say a class ABC fire extinguisher, which will, solve the purpose. And also, on this site, one should make sure that the exits are not clogged, are not blocked.
Yeah, that's true. Exits has a biggest issue. When a site where construction is going on, A, fire extinguishers are important. B, I think even sand is important.
Absolutely.
And C, not to clog the back entry and the front entry and the service staircase and the lift for the same, right? So also you being in this industry for so many years now, like I know so far you've not been doing residential buildings, but I'm sure at the back of your mind there must be something new coming up with residences also. So is there something that you would like to tell us that you might just come up with soon?
Yes, we are looking at something integrating with an AI and protecting with the water mist. So if there is a fire, the camera will automatically sense And if there are multiple cameras in the room, it will sense from which nozzle where it is supposed to be sprayed, so that the fire can be, really addressed.
Wow. So this entire thing, what you are coming up with, is going to be an AI generated program, as in.
Yeah, so it's a work combination of IoT, AI, and water mist.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a combination. It's got international certifications already.
So Kunal is giving us this wonderful news of how fire is going to help all of us, how we can use the systems and change our lives and be fire free. And yes, if AI has come into our lives in all possible ways, and I never knew that AI is coming into fire in such a big way, Kunal. I mean, that's a excellent thing that you're coming up with. And how do you propose to, like, kind of like, supposing, is there anything that, say, my building doesn't have fire, any kind of fire extinguisher or anything, because it's just a 6-story building. So at this point, or for any viewer who has buildings like that, is there any system that you have to offer that without doing much we can at least kind of get into the next generation of work?
See, more than to offer, first I will like to, run through. There are basic needs required. So every family needs to have an escape plan. There should be a fire drill, because you have kids, old age people in the house. How can you, evacuate because you need to be relaxed and calm, composed. Otherwise, minute you are, more hyper, I think that's not going to solve any purpose. Let's say if there is a fire outside and you are in the room, you check first of all, the temperature of the door.
Oh.
If the door temperature is hot, and don't touch the handle directly. You may burn yourself. So touch it from the back of your hand, and then if there is a temperature, it means there is a fire outside. Immediately you close all the openings with a wet cloth, and take a wet cloth and try and wrap it around your mouth. What happens is carbon monoxide it's like a poison, it will kill you. Major deaths are due to carbon monoxide inhaling. So that is something you have to really, help protect. And when there is a fire, there is a fume of gas above you, you bend down and go. There is a cleaner air that you will have it at the bottom, and crawl your way out towards the exit.
So I think this is a fantastic takeaway, that yes, I do understand that a lot of people, if there is fire, do die because of the fumes. And what you're saying is, so one biggest point that I learned is, I mean, you wet the cloth, you tie it around your nose and your mouth, and also the skirting that is in between. The skirting, I mean the air gap that is in between the door and the bottom. Say it doesn't say if you cannot escape the space. If you put a wet cloth there, at least it will prevent the fumes from entering inside. At least give us some more time to fight against the fire.
And also don't open the window in the room, because that will give more oxygen. So only during evacuation you open that. What happens is people think that the smoke will go out.
Yeah.
And you open the window.
I would have done that. I mean, I would immediately open the window. Oh yes, but yes, you're giving more oxygen, so you're inviting more trouble. So it's better not to open the windows, is what you suggest. Oof. And then tell me, the temperature wise, as in, I also come across buildings where nowadays the doors are fire retardant.
Yes.
And well, unfortunately they don't look all that great, so we as designers all the time want to change the design of this fire door. So at that point, what do you think we should be doing? Should we be doing some cladding on top of the existing door, or what?
No, I think those doors are supposed to be, fire rated, and they are tested with that kind of a coating. So anything else, so that will catch the fire. Eventually the purpose, it may not propagate, but I'm sure, it will increase the temperature in the room.
Another thing, Kunal, I feel is, under construction sites, we don't realize the sprinklers are not working as yet, because the water is not started in the pipes. Like, you've always kept it shut, right? Because you're working. So sometimes I feel even that can be a reason that we as architects forget, like we leave it off, and if God forbid at a construction site there is fire, the sprinklers are only not on.
It should be, ideally, it should be pressurized always. So of course, at least I know for Mumbai, so Mumbai Fire Department is looking at connecting it with an IoT, where they get a centralized system and they are aware that, whether the systems are on or no, and the pressure is there or no. Another challenge, another thing which every society, every committee needs to see is, you need to have water is stored in your that tank, fire water tank.
It's
And that
true. A
is
lot of people don't end up storing water in their fire tank. They use it for multiple reasons. Some festival, some Holi, some Diwali, some function, they use up all the water.
no, as per the, if you really go by the NBC guidelines, there's a 6 months non-bailable offense against the committee.
Oh,
Okay, it's a non-bailable offense, but I think this is a hard side, that we come across. So that is very critical. And let's say, as you were mentioning earlier, for the old buildings. Okay, old buildings, of course, if there is no water tank, you cannot do anything to that. But you can have extinguishers, you can have proper exits, you can have proper fire drills. Those things, one should have a fire blanket in case of, let's say, there is a fire on you, you drop yourself and roll towards the exit.
oh, okay.
Because if you have a fire
What is
blanket,
a fire blanket?
so it's a blanket with a certain rating of fire. So you can wrap it around yourself and then roll on the floor. So it will basically stop the penetration of oxygen, and this
Wow.
will help you.
So, what I understand is if we categorize ourselves into three types of buildings, if you can just give me so that we can sum the whole thing up in pointer format. For old buildings, you suggest one, to have a fire blanket, then
Fire extinguishers, proper exits marked, your drills are taken care of properly. Drill is a very, very important aspect. This is the residential, but if you look at commercial side of it, if there is an old commercial building where there are so many people, so extinguishers in each offices, the law clearly defines that extinguisher should be accessible at 6 meters.
okay.
Every extinguisher, okay, in those spaces. But a lot of places we don't see that, and proper checking of everything. I think you have a monthly check in first place. Even old buildings, what you can do is you can have a battery operated smoke detector. So you don't do anything, you just it's a plug and play, you change the batteries on a regular interval. So that's how, because old buildings you cannot do everything, but this will help big
So
way.
if I prepare a checklist for any old building, it would be all these points. And Kunal, just put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and tell us for old buildings these points, for new buildings these points.
So you can take a fire extinguisher in every house, in every passage. You can add, fire blanket in every house. It's a necessity. Then you can have. I did mention about.
The sand baskets that buckets
But
that you
but
could
sand
have.
sand buckets, you can have it in the passage. But I think that's every building feasibility that one has to check with the space. The exits are really, really very important. Needs to be taken care of.
Not to block the exit. So this is for the old buildings, and also to check in case, if they have a separate tank for fire, then that tank should be full at all times.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, sorry to, I've missed, you can add a battery operated detector, a smoke
Okay.
detector.
Okay.
So what happens is it's a standalone detector, like a new light that you have. You just put a one detector, it's battery operated. So if there is a fire, it will give you an alarm. And
Okay.
these days, if you are able to do that wiring, like you have cameras installed, you can install the smoke detection system.
So in short, fire can be saved at in any type of building, whether it's commercial, it's residential, it's a bus, it's a car. We have the right guys here for you, and at that point one must remember that safety is most important. So we're going to put the entire checklist that you need for an old building, in case of a building under construction or an interior project under construction, the points that you would take care of, and the points to be looked into if you're doing a commercial premise. So Kunal, thank you so much for coming today. I'm sure you and me together will surely help somebody somewhere. And that is the entire intention of this podcast. My intention purely to do this podcast is to help my viewers get a safe home, a home that they would love to live and cherish with, and a home which just has good memories and nothing else. A space which is just so well defined with all the safety compliances, with all the right things at the right place. If not completely right, we can at least try and get most of it right. So with Kunal, with the AI, with the fire systems, and for sure we're going to have a safer place. So thank you again, Kunal.
Thank you so much, Asumi.